Good evening and welcome to the San Bruno City Council meeting of July 25th, 2017. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Marty Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Rico Medina.
Here.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Here.
Vice Mayor Ibarra.
Here.
Mayor Ruane.
Here. Mario Beneventi, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a couple of announcements. The regular City Council meeting of August the 8th, 2017 is canceled, and the next regular City Council meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 22nd, 2017, right here at the Senior Center. San Bruno's annual National Night Out event will be held on Tuesday, August 1st, 2017, and I'll read a little bit about National Night Out. The City of San Bruno is excited to participate in the 2017 National Night Out event on Tuesday, August 1st, from 6 to 8 p.m. This event has grown over the last few years to include several neighborhoods throughout the city. National Night Out has been held annually since 1984 throughout the United States and Canada and is intended to build relationships among neighbors and increase awareness of programs in our communities, such as Neighborhood Watch. The City of San Bruno currently has 31 Neighborhood Watch groups. A kickoff event will be held on Tuesday, August the 1st at 6 p.m. at Grundy Park for San Bruno residents who want to participate and learn more about National Night Out, and starting a Neighborhood Watch group in their own neighborhood. Neighborhoods that host local get-togethers and advise the city of their gathering will be visited by emergency personnel and city officials. These events can be as small or as large as the individual neighborhood desires. National Night Out enhances the relationship between neighbors and law enforcement while reinforcing a true sense of community. If your neighborhood is hosting an event and would like a visit from city staff, or you'd like to learn more about both National Night Out and Neighborhood Watch, please contact Officer Sherry Campbell with the San Bruno Police Department at 650-616-7129 or scampbell@sanbruno.ca.gov. And we encourage all of you to participate in August the 1st. Our council, we do have one presentation this evening which is not on the agenda, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that the City of San Bruno, State of California, whereas Mayor, sorry, Mario Beneventi is a San Bruno resident and business owner and has been a member of the San Bruno Lions Club since 2001. And whereas Mario Beneventi is the 4th district governor from the San Bruno Lions following Robert Marshall, Mel Phillips, and Ken Ibarra. And whereas Mario Beneventi assumes leadership of District C4 of Lions Clubs International, which includes 56 clubs and over 1,700 members from San Francisco to Palo Alto. And whereas Lions Clubs International is the world's largest service club organization with over 1.4 million members in 46,000 clubs in more than 200 countries and geographical areas. And whereas Lions Clubs International was founded in 1917 and is celebrating 100 years of humanitarian service, and is comprised of volunteers who dedicate their time to betterment of our communities and aiding those in need. And whereas Lions of District 4C4 will celebrate the Lions Centennial and the district's installation of officers on July 28, 2017 at the San Mateo Marriott, San Francisco Airport. Now, therefore, I, Jim Ruane, the Mayor of the City of San Bruno, recognize this important event and do proclaim Lions Club's International Centennial Celebration Day, and extend my personal congratulations and also those of the City Council to Lion Centennial District Governor Mario Beneventi on this 100th anniversary, and further urging all of our citizens to be cognizant of the many contributions of this organization through these many years. Mario, would you step to the podium, please? And I'd ask the Vice Mayor to present this. There you go. Right over there. Sorry.
All right.
Let me just say, if I could, needless to say, we're very proud. He's a San Bruno resident, and I've known him for over 20 years. And we were in Chicago earlier in the month, and it's a very emotional event when the district governor actually gets installed. And there's over 750 of them in an arena. And we were in this own little world, and Lion Ken Ibarra, past district governor, lost it. So,
He did.
Just so you know, I am so proud of this gentleman for what he's done for our organization and what he's done for this community and his family and everything. So Couldn't be a better guy, couldn't be a more perfect person to honor tonight, so congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Past District Governor Ken. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you. Thank you for the recognition, first of all. And I've always been proud to say that I'm from San Bruno, representing San Bruno to the district, to the state, even nationally and internationally. And I would say that they heard about San Bruno through me, but Past District Governor Ken has been so active, they know all about San Bruno. And so the reputation precedes us already. And so I bring you greetings from our members, our 1.4 million members, our 1,700 members in our district, and most importantly, from our members of the San Bruno Lions Clubs. We have 40. And so we all are out there with the same objective, to follow our motto, which is we serve. So anyway, I appreciate this very much, and I will take your greetings to the district.
Thank you, Mario, and
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Review of the agenda this evening. Anything on the agenda? Okay. Approval of the minutes of the regular city council meeting of June 27th and special regular meetings of July 11, 2017. I think we have some revised minutes that were presented to the council earlier today. Anything on the minutes? Seeing none to be approved as submitted. The consent calendar, all items are considered routine or implemented earlier council action and may be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion unless requested. Anything on consent?
Yes.
Marty?
Pull 7C, please.
7C. All right. Anything else?
If nothing else, move to approve items A and B.
Second.
Motion is second on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Consent calendar item 7C is adopt a resolution amending the salary plan for unclassified, part-time, temporary, and seasonal employee classifications. Marty?
So I basically wanted to highlight this and recognize that what San Bruno is doing to pay the temporary and seasonal employees, and one of the big things there is following along with raising the minimum wage to state standards. I don't know if I could ask the city manager just to kind of explain the range and depth of all that those employees do. We do have a staff report here, but I think it's important for the public to be aware and for those employees that are working part-time to be recognized, and that's why I pulled the item.
Sure, I'd be happy to give you some comments, and if there's anything more to say, our Assistant City Manager, Tammy Yuki, our Human Resources Manager, Monica Walker, can help out. Our part-time, temporary, hourly employees, and we have many of them, probably during the summer season in particular, more than 100, maybe 150 total. They are a very integral part of our staff team who deliver a wide variety of recreation programs through our aquatic facility, our swimming programs, our before and after school activity programs at many of our elementary school sites, and importantly and currently occurring right now are extremely, extremely popular summer camp activities. Anybody who's been in a park on a weekday during the summer knows the volume and the level of excitement and activity that is going on within those programs. We have a very large number of part-time temporary employees who are the reason that we're able to deliver those programs so successfully. In addition to that, we have a number of community service officers that work on a part-time hourly basis. They are the backbone of our parking enforcement program, our timed parking in the downtown, our street sweeping parking programs, and they perform a variety of support activities to our sworn police officers that make their jobs more effective and our law enforcement and public safety programs more efficient. There are a number of other part-time and temporary positions that are listed in the materials that you have tonight, but I think that gives you a sort of a order of magnitude and a sense of the very important work that's being performed by our employees in that category.
Good. Any action on item
As
7C?
a former San Bruno Parks and Recreation leader, I will move to approve.
Is there a second?
Not as much as...
Second.
The motion is second on item 7C. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Item number 8, public hearings. There aren't any public hearings this evening. Item number 9 is public comment on items not on this agenda. It is the council's policy to refer matters raised in this form to staff for investigation and interaction where appropriate. The Brown Act prohibits the council from discussing or acting upon any matter not agendized pursuant to state law. Kirsten?
Hi, good evening, Mayor and City Council. I just wanted to stop in and commend you guys for, the last time I was here was for a rate increase, but we were also talking about the 20-gallon cart. And it was at the suggestion of the council that we publicize the 20-gallon cart more. So immediately after the council meeting, about a week after, we attended the Senior Center Medical Fair and had the 20-gallon to show the seniors. And we also, at your suggestion, publicized the variety of cart sizes that we do offer in our annual brochure. And I just want you to know that in the first month since this was published, actually 3 weeks, we've already had an additional 26 subscriptions to the 20-gallon cart, so which is a 3% increase. Doesn't sound like a lot, but in the first month, that's a lot. We usually get about maybe 2 a month. So I just wanted to stop in and let you guys know that your idea was heard and utilized, and it's working. So just wanted to stop in.
Thank you, and come by more often.
Good news.
Especially with good news, right? Item number 10, conduct of business. The first item is, oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mayor Ruane and City Council members and San Bruno residents. My name is Stephen Seymour. I retired last November with 32 years service at FedEx. The last 17 I served FedEx as Managing Director of Bay Operations, including the Hawaiian Islands. I had responsibility for an organization 2,000 strong. I was tasked with improving the employee relations to reduce employee turnover and improve retention. With the help of HR, legal, management, staff, and most importantly, our employees, we delivered a successful plan. I spent years building coalitions focused on improving operational efficiencies, lowering cost, and generating revenue. At FedEx, we operate with one main philosophy: people first. Every decision made in San Bruno should be measured by the same philosophy. Tonight, I declare my candidacy for City Council. If elected, I will serve the people of San Bruno full-time, and my focus will be safer streets and neighborhoods. Number 2, smart development that respects the historical neighborhoods. Number 3, parking improvements. Number 4, relying more on the talent in San Bruno to reduce the cost of consultants. Number 5, I'll do everything possible to keep San Bruno city jobs in San Bruno. It's time for change. There are many talented people serving our city in paid and volunteer positions. Their service is invaluable to the future of San Bruno. We have talented residents whose personal and professional experiences would help the city build a more vibrant community. We must find a way to include all San Brunans in building a better future for our children and our grandchildren. The decisions made during the next 5 years will chart our path forward. My campaign is about the future of San Bruno, about quality of life issues, and about listening to all those who call the city with a heart home. I am proud of our contributions to San Bruno now. We have brought focus to our parking issues, citywide dumping, and safety issues. We have worked to improve our city parks, to implement a trial period allowing dogs in City and Grundy Park, and have adopted Commodore Park and Walnut Park. We have influenced the implementation of San Bruno Responds, a new reporting app that allows every resident to report graffiti, safety, and other important issues. Please visit the website sanbrunonow.com, the Facebook site by the same name, to get involved. Together we can change San Bruno. We need change in San Bruno now. Visit my Facebook page, Stephen A. Seymour, to learn about my qualifications and my campaign. My wife Sandra and I have been volunteering for years in San Bruno. The Senior Center, local churches, and the American Legion are some of the organizations we give our time to. We generously support Relay for Life. We are passionate about San Bruno. We will do everything possible to earn your vote. Please reach out to me at 650-483-6066 or steveseymour4961@gmail.com to discuss my campaign and your expectations of our next city council. I thank you for your time and look forward to the public discussions that will educate and inform you about who best will serve on the next city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else under public comment? Okay, we'll go right on to conduct of business. Item 10A, adopt a resolution rejecting the bid and authorizing staff to re-advertise for bids for the Mills Park Neighborhood Streetlight Conversion Project.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. The topic in front of you tonight is in regards to the streetlight improvements within a regulated output, otherwise known as RO. Before I go into detail about the project, I'd like to mention that the city recognizes the interest and urgency from the residents in the neighborhood to get the streetlights up and running again, and we haven't stopped working on this project since the outage. The regulated output streetlight outage in the Mills Park neighborhood is a little bit different in comparison to what we experienced a couple of years ago in the Crestmore 1 and 3 neighborhood. The RO streetlight circuits are similar at both neighborhoods. They're high voltage series of lights that share a single source of power. So if there's any issues or problems with the streetlights or wires at any locations within a circuit, it can cause an outage in other areas. The difference is how they were constructed. During the Crestmore 1 and 3 neighborhood outage, staff began potholing to look for damaged wires, which is similar to what we did at the Mills Park neighborhood. During the excavation, staff found that electrical wires were installed within the conduit. Then staff evaluated whether to convert the streetlights from series to parallel circuits or install new wires within the circuit. And the city collectively decided with the council's subcommittee to input to remove and replace the wires within the conduits, as it was the most efficient and effective repair method that saved time. The situation in Mills Park neighborhood is different because the portion of the streetlight circuits was not installed in conduits, which is a safety issue for residents. The city does not have an option to remove the wires and replace it like in the Crestmore neighborhood. And also the voltage in these RO circuits could be as high as 6,000 volts. And for the safety of our residents, the city has decided not to repair and reinstate the RO circuit and instead install new conduits and wires. So this slide shows some of the streets that were affected initially here: Magnolia, Sycamore, Cypress, Olive Court, Williams Avenue, Park, Hazel, Chestnut, Cedar, Pepper, Redwood, and Hawthorne. So a total of 50 streetlights were connected to this Mills Park RO. So what has the city done since we experienced the outage? Here's a project timeline for the various activities that were completed. The RO outage was experienced around early September, and staff quickly began investigating the cause of the streetlight failure. Several potholes were excavated and determine the condition of the existing underground wires and the location of the damaged circuit. During the potholing work, staff noticed that underground wires were directly buried, unlike what we experienced at Crestmore, which were installed in conduit. And staff also noticed that the insulation on some of these wires have burned off, leaving only the conductor exposed, which is a dangerous condition, especially for high voltage circuits. So I'll show you some of the pictures of the wires a bit later. But based on experience from the Crestmore outage, staff submitted an application to PG&E right away and on September 19th to request PG&E to determine the feasibility of providing power to convert the streetlight circuits to parallel circuit and assist the city in splitting the RO circuit in two. By quickly coordinating with PG&E staff, the city was able to get 26 out of 50 streetlights to be functional again, which left 24 streetlights out of service. So the location within the streetlights, the over, are actually all on. Those are the 26 streetlights that are working. And the remaining 24 streetlights, the city implemented a temporary lighting program similar to what we did at the Crestmore 1 and 3 neighborhood outage. Staff went to each property adjacent to the streetlights to request their participation in the temporary light connection program. Currently, there are 14 residents that are participating, and we'd like to thank those properties that signed up in the temporary program to provide the lighting in the neighborhood. City staff also installed portable solar lights. 7 of those have been installed around the neighborhood. And currently, only 3 out of the 24 streetlights are inactive. And going back to the timeline, in December, PG&E approved the parallel circuit conversion after their evaluation by their engineers to provide the 3 service connections. Then in January of this year, staff came to council to recommend an award of the electrical design services to Zyger Engineers. And in May, the city received the 50% design drawings from the designer, and then the project was advertised and around mid-June, and we're here today at the council meeting. Here are just some of the pictures of the issues that we're encountering. These are, you can see that there's direct buried wires. There's no installation on any of these wires at these locations. There's another location that we dug up, and here's another as well. So you can see that there's no conduits exist, no installation of these wires. So, and the project was also advertised in June, as I mentioned earlier. So we had notice to bidders that were sent to about 40 contractors, and as well as posted on the city's website and provided to the plan rooms. And 3 contractors attended a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting on June 30th, and there was St. Francis Electric, JMB Construction, and Bay Area Lightworks. A total of 1 bid was received and opened on July 12th from Tennyson Electric in the amount of close to $1.6 million. The 1 bid received is approximately 3 times more than the engineer's estimate of $504,000. So after discussions with the plan holders and the pre-bid meeting attendees, staff was informed that the additional bids were not submitted due to the current high demand market and then unavailability of the employees to prepare and compile the bid documents due to their workload and vacations. And the one contractor was unwilling to submit confidential financial documents as required in the project's contract documents. So due to the high bid amount received, staff is recommending to reject the bid and re-advertise the project for bid again in August. And staff will reevaluate the project scope of work and will again make contact with the contractors to encourage qualified contractors to submit the bids. Staff anticipates returning to council in September to award the construction contract, which will result in a delay to the original construction schedule by about a couple of months. With the current bidding climate, there's no guarantee whether we'll receive any bids or receive another high bid. This delay will extend the streetlight outage and temporary lighting period for residents, but will provide an opportunity to avoid this unreasonable high cost for the work as much as $1 million over the engineer's estimate. As for the fiscal impact, there are no other fiscal impacts to the city resulting from this rejection of bids. So this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for staff at this time?
Through the chair.
Ken?
Jimmy, looking at your timeline, I mean, you got authorization to design in January. 5 months. It took 5 months to design 50, wiring of 50 lights. That would, on behalf of the residents there, I would say that probably took longer than it should have. So I'm just concerned that this will drag on even longer until we get the price, closer to what we need. So I'm just a little frustrated with, hearing from a couple of the residents up there that it has dragged on. So any comment on that as far as the design time?
Right. So in regards to the design time, there's also a contract, signing stage that that's in there as well. So once we came to council at the end of in January, we had to get the agreement signed. They have to provide all the insurance certificates and so forth. So there's a little bit of period for the agreements to be signed. And so once we had that signed, the consultant went ahead and started the design process.
Yeah, and we know the delays that we can anticipate with PG&E. So, I'm just glad that now it's a priority, and hopefully we can get a contractor to take this on within the year.
Anyone else? I have a question to city manager and maybe the city attorney. I know we did an emergency situation here for the senior center because we have to get this up and running. We avoided the bidding process, and is there a way to do it here and just get somebody on a time materials basis so you know exactly what it costs?
I would say it would be difficult to make the emergency findings because the situation has gone on for long enough that unless there's some evidence that there is an actual emergency to life or property out there, which I haven't seen, it would be difficult to make that finding. So I think that's the reason why staff is recommending to proceed in this manner instead and to rebid it.
Okay. Thank you. Rico?
Thank you. So I know you were wanting to go back out in August. Do you know around when in August?
Right now it's the end of July, so hopefully by early August is what we're looking at.
So early August, and then
Yes.
come back to council in September.
September, correct.
You're not believing it'll be the first council meeting, but the second?
Probably the second council meeting, correct.
Okay. So I echo the Vice Mayor, because I think, and again, this is not what I don't do that for a living, with the designing and what have you. I would assume this could be expedited a little bit more in the sense that we've already gone down this path, so we're not recreating things. But I think it is, Ken is correct too, hearing something. It's like, I don't understand the process and why it takes so long. And I think somehow maybe we need to find a mechanism and a method in which to communicate. As the Vice Mayor said, PG&E, you're on a timeline. You can tell them that you want to be moved up, but that's not how it works. And I accept that and understand that. Don't like it. But I think in the other aspect, it would be good for us to communicate the process and why the design, for example, for 5 months is something hard for people to understand.
Okay. Anyone else? Marty?
It's a really busy time in construction, and what else are you going to do of getting a hold of these contractors that just didn't show the interest because they were just so busy? I mean, it's going to be very difficult, but I think we're in a position where the sooner we get it out to bid, the better. So this project had a timeline of how many contract days was it supposed to be completed in? Did you specify that in the contract?
Yes, it's included in the contract.
90
I can't
days,
recall
120 days? Or?
It's probably 90 days. I can't recall the number right now, yeah.
The only other thing I have in the report from the 11 of the 24 of the poles the foundations need to be replaced. I'm concerned that this is only where we're looking, and where else do we need to replace the foundations and poles? Are we having somebody inspect these from staff, not waiting for the lights to go out, but how do we know of other locations where maybe they need to be replaced? What was the basis of determining that they needed to be replaced?
It was a staff assessment in regards to there are a lot of steel posts, the streetlight poles
Right.
that are in there that are deteriorating.
Right.
And then with that, the city is planning to convert those to aluminum poles. And sometimes the foundation of those does not match, and that needs to be replaced.
All right, so that answers my concern that we have other steel poles around town that maybe we should be looking at to make sure, like, if they're in that same condition, that, we shouldn't wait for the poles to be out of, an RO to burn out before we go out and look at the poles.
I totally understand that, and there is a program in the CIP to
Okay.
replace the poles,
Okay.
streetlight poles, and it's been budgeted.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Someone like to introduce the resolution?
I'll introduce the resolution.
Vice Mayor Ibarra,
Aye.
Councilmember Marty Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember Rico Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell,
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye. Item 10B, approve design and adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract with J&B Construction, Inc. for the San Mateo Avenue Water and Sewer Replacement Project in the amount of $4,613,870 and approve a construction contingency of $692,081. Execute a contract for construction management and inspection services with the Hanna Group in an amount not to exceed $299,325. Approve capital improvement budget amendment and appropriate $1,357,688 from the wastewater capital fund. Appropriate $551,937 from the water capital fund, and approve a total budget in the amount of $5,787,937 $705,276.
Thank you. Good evening again. The topic in front of you in regards to the infrastructure improvements along San Mateo Avenue from Angus to El Camino. That's the project limits there. Earlier this year's January City Council meeting, staff presented information on the project and provided an opportunity for council and members of the community to discuss measures to minimize construction disruption and alleviate inconveniences to businesses prior to advertising the project for bid. Since then, staff conducted another community meeting with the businesses and residents within the surrounding downtown area and moved forward with completing the design. Staff is here tonight to recommend an award for both the construction and construction management and inspection contracts. San Mateo Avenue is the core of city's downtown that consists of businesses, office, restaurants, and some residential units. Revitalization of the downtown corridor has been the city's top priority, and completion of the transit corridor plan provides the path for new development and redevelopment projects, starting with the plaza project that's currently under construction. The investment in the infrastructure replacement project will provide new water and sewer pipelines to not only meet existing demands, but will also have the capacities to support the needs of future developments within the city's downtown corridor. Both the existing water and sewer infrastructure along San Mateo have aged and deteriorated, and this project will replace the utilities to provide a more reliable water service and prevent future sanitary sewer overflows. This project consists of installing approximately 1,800 feet of new 24-inch pipeline, which is being upgraded from existing 60-inch pipeline to provide more capacity, and 2,200 feet of 8-inch water pipeline along San Mateo Avenue between the project limits, El Camino and Angus. To select the contractor, the project was advertised in the San Mateo County newspaper twice, on May 23rd and May 30th. And a notice to visitors were also sent to about 72 contractors and posted on the city's website, as well as provided to the construction plan rooms. 3 bids were received and opened on June 22nd, ranging from $4.6 million to $4.7 million. The 2 lowest bidders were about $6,000 apart, and the bids were competitive. The lowest bid was received from JMB Construction in the amount of $4,613,870, which was within about 5% of the engineer's estimate. Staff is recommending to award the project to JMB Construction, as the company has completed numerous projects involving sewer and water main replacements for public agencies in the cities of San Francisco, San Jose, South San Francisco, Burlingame, and Santa Clara. JMB Construction has also worked on many projects in San Bruno, including the Crestmore Neighborhood Reconstruction, Phase 3, College Pump Station Number 4, and the recently completed Genevieve Avenue Sewer Main Replacement Project. Based on their experience and performance with other agencies in San Bruno, staff determined that JMB meets the qualifications to perform the work for the project as specified in the contract documents. Construction management inspection services by a consulting firm is also being recommended by staff to provide dedicated inspection and oversight to ensure effective and timely delivery of the project. The inspector will be on site full-time and will work closely with businesses and to address concerns related to traffic circulations and construction issues. One of the project goals is to ensure the impacts to the businesses and surrounding neighborhood is minimized, and having a dedicated full-time inspector will help. And the city received 5 proposals, one from Anchor CM, Swinnerton Management Consulting, 4Leaf, Tanner Pacific, and the Hanna Group. All the proposals were reviewed for completeness, team qualifications, and relevant experience. And staff is recommending the Hanna Group to provide construction management inspection services in the amount of approximately $300,000, $299,325. The Hanna Group has completed construction management inspection for projects in the cities of San Mateo, town of Hillsborough, and Burlingame, and is considered to have the experience and qualifications to perform the work. Specifically, the work in Burlingame includes providing the full construction management inspection services on the Burlingame Avenue utility and streetscape project, which require coordination with businesses, residents, and utility agencies. The references provided by the firm were contacted, and all were provided positive feedback. They stated that the firm is highly knowledgeable and has good customer service and is responsive and works well together as a team. In regards to community outreach, staff has performed extensive outreach on this project than any other pipeline replacement projects. Notification letters were sent to approximately 500 residents and property owners and for community meetings. Staff also hand-delivered the letters to each and every address along San Mateo Avenue between El Camino and Huntington. During the community meeting on December 15th last year, only 2 people showed up. Due to low attendance, staff held another community meeting in February 16th. Unfortunately, no one showed up at the meeting. Staff will be holding another community meeting on August 15th, that's next month, and hope that people will attend to discuss their concerns. Since San Mateo Avenue has a single lane in each direction, and due to the narrow width, temporary road closure will be required daily in order to construct both utilities. However, staff and our construction management team will work together with the contractor to minimize the impacts and disruption during construction. And some of the measures that are being considered to ensure least disruption to downtown includes closing San Mateo Avenue a segment at a time to allow for traffic to continue to circulate. So here's some of the slides that we'll be working together with the contractor. We're starting at the downstream end at Angus, where the sewer pipeline will have to be constructed, and we'll go from segment to segment, from Angus to Sylvan, from Sylvan to Genevan road closure, and Genevan to El Camino segment. So detour signs will be posted to alert the drivers of the road closures. Parking will also be restricted only within each segment where the construction work will take place, so that residents or people who are coming to downtown can park in other locations. Sidewalks will remain open at all times during construction to allow downtown patrons to walk to businesses. Downtown parking lots will also remain open. Business open during construction signs will be posted on San Mateo Avenue, and will limit the construction work to within the 8 a.m. to the 5 p.m. And will be within that time frame. And at the end of each day, the roadway will be reopened and on-street parking will be unrestricted. Water and sewer services will not be disrupted during construction until the contractor performs the tying connections to the existing water main and water service. And businesses will be notified 48 hours in advance of any disruption to the water and sewer service. Staff also actively considered nighttime construction work, being that there are residents living in close proximity of the San Mateo Avenue. The construction noise will be disruptive at night, and so we're considering performing the work during the daytime. In addition to the water and sewer infrastructure replacement work, the rapid rectangular flashing beacon will also be installed at the mid-block crossings to enhance pedestrian safety. And the cost for these beacons will be funded by the San Bruno Community Foundation as part of their efforts to improve safety in the community. The entire roadway within the project limits will also be repaved after the construction of the facilities. As for the fiscal impact, the 2017-22 CIP program budget includes the appropriations for both the water, sewer main, and as well as the pedestrian warning systems from the Community Foundation. And so additional appropriation of $1.357 and $688 from the wastewater capital fund for the sewer main improvement is necessary, as well as $551,937 from the water capital fund for the water main replacement program is needed for this project. So should this project be awarded, staff anticipates starting the construction in September 2017 and taking approximately 5 months to complete. This concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jimmy?
Yeah, through the chair.
Ken?
Jimmy, if you can refresh my memory, everything north of Angus has been improved because of with the grade separation, or is that a future project?
The sewer line north of Angus, from Angus to Keynes, was constructed about a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm concerned that once construction starts, that those all of a sudden you're going to get residents and business owners going to think what's going on. So I think we need to make a real concerted effort to try and get them to that next meeting. When were those past meetings held? What time of day?
In the evening, 6 p.m.
See, that's been it's been a knowledge for many years now that if you want to talk to the business owners, you have to do it early in the morning. And so, because by the afternoon they're dead tired and they go. So I'm going to propose that we, do a early morning continental breakfast for these business owners possibly at the BAEC, the Entrepreneur Center. We can stand outside and we can show them things. I'm also concerned that we have to give better, other than, saying roads closed ahead and right turn only, we have to give them signage of parking, where to park. And I also would like to make a suggestion if we can reach out to Artichoke Joe's and get some supplemental parking arrangement with them. And you can have a continental breakfast subcommittee if you want. I'll have the mayor, give me a morning call. This is a big project. It's a needed project, and this is something that I think will be appreciated, in the future when it's done. And we're no strangers to excavation on that. We've had BART and a great separation. So this is just another thing that we'll look forward to its completion and improvement.
Anything else? Marty? I'm sorry, Irene.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead.
Jimmy, I know you talked about the improvements for pedestrian safety at mid-block. Were you saying at Genevin and San Mateo Avenue? Is that mid-block?
No, it was proposed to, during the study, for the San Mateo Avenue pedestrian study, it was recommended by the traffic engineers to remove one of the crosswalks in Genevin and put the flashing beacon. But with that, currently, after research in regards to the stop warrants for that intersection, the city will go to TSPC with the stop sign for that intersection, and then install one mid-block crossing flashing beacons at the mid-block. There's so many mid-block crossings. I can't.
Some other mid-block.
Another
right?
mid-block crossing, yes.
Okay, thank you. Also, once it's all paved, I know we're going to put the crosswalk markings back.
Correct.
Can we make sure that they are very visible? I know certain places we have the zebra striping. So since it's the opportunity to do that, can we have TSP, yeah, thank you, review what could be improvements for that area?
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Marty?
Thank you. First of all, I do appreciate it that the bids are nicely bunched. Being that it's almost over a $4.5 million project, and it's separated by 6,000. I mean, that's showing the competitiveness out there. So that's definitely a good thing. This is going to be a very difficult project, as everybody here is acknowledging. I think the Vice Mayor's comments and getting additional input and making sure that that input is in other languages, that it's in Spanish, Chinese, as well as, of course, English. We have a wide variety of business owners there. Since we've already worked with JMB, I'm hoping that the turnaround time to get that contract signed, since we were familiar with their bids and with their insurances and stuff, the sooner the better, because I'm concerned as we're going to be doing sewer bypasses, and that the inflow water from the rain that gets into our sewers, it may potentially overflow. So the sooner the better. The amount of hours, typically, right now in construction, we work until it almost gets dark because we try to utilize as much time. And so I think we should really consider expanding the work hours so that we minimize the duration of the project, and also that when you work, most crews that I'm working with now, it's almost always 10 hours. So having an 8 to 9 hour work shift with the lunch, I think it's just going to make the project go longer. I'm sure they're going to ask to work weekends. Everybody wants to work weekends in construction. That's the way you catch up. Being that it's an old downtown, that we're gonna find all kinds of unknowns, with crossings and laterals and sewers and a bunch of freaky things over there. So I did submit a number of questions to staff, and I did get some answers about the number of potholes that you've already done and requiring the contractor to stay ahead and provide the potholing information back to the engineering staff. For those sewer laterals that are, I'm sure they're probably 100 years old, right? It's an old downtown. So the property owner is responsible to pay for the replacement of the sewer lateral, like the residents are, and like we've done on other projects. Is that true, or how is that working with the sewer lateral replacement?
San Mateo Avenue is a little bit unique. The sewer is actually underneath the sidewalk. So with that, the city is extending because the sewer line, the new sewer line is being installed in the middle of the road. So we are extending the pipeline tours to connect back to their existing sewer.
But the sewers come from both sides, so it's going to be in the middle of the street, but typically the property owner is responsible to replace the sewer lateral.
Correct.
So in this case, they are or they're not. The city paying for this, we're putting a new sewer lateral in for them, right?
The new sewer lateral will go from the middle of the road to
Right.
the front of the building, because that's where the existing sewer lateral ends, because of the sewer main is underneath the sidewalk.
Right, and so the city's paying for the new?
That's correct.
Okay.
And just to be clear, the reason for that is because we're moving the sewer line. So we're creating the condition where the length of the lateral needs to be extended, and therefore it needs to be replaced.
Okay. And that was consistent when we replaced the sewer lateral recently, that?
On Genevieve, no. Because most of the time, the sewer is replaced in the same location. From manhole to manhole, existing manhole to manhole, and in this case, the existing sewer line is underneath the sidewalk, and the new sewer line is being constructed in the middle of the road.
Right, so the one business is on one side of the street, where currently is, that sewer lateral is coming all the way across to where it is
Correct.
now underneath the sidewalk. And the one that's close to the building, it's just dropping in. I just wanted to make sure, I just thought that all property owners were responsible, and it doesn't seem exactly right with me, but I can buy that argument a little bit, and that's fine. What I am concerned about is the construction management and inspection services part of this project. I did a little bit of the math on it. So at almost $300,000 contract at $140 an hour for the inspector, is the inspector an engineer? Is it one person that's going to be doing the whole project? Is it two people?
No, it will be one inspector and one construction manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're both going to be there full-time?
No, not, the inspector will be
The
there
inspector will be
full-time.
there
Yes,
full-time?
correct.
Okay, so I got the hourly rate for the inspector. Did we get I didn't see the,
It's $190.
$190 for that
Yes.
one? Okay. That makes a little bit more sense because I was basing it on that one time frame. So yeah, if we could find a way to start a little earlier and getting more involvement, it's going to be extremely disruptive. And if we could maybe look at extending the hours, I mean, that will reduce the amount of time that they'll actually be working there. And those are my questions and suggestions.
Well,
Go ahead.
I mean, if I could just piggyback onto that, that's another reason why we really need to talk to talk to the public. Because if we want to propose extended hours, weekend hours, we should let them know about that, and at least let them know that this is going to make your headache, a lot shorter in time frame. If we can give them a time frame saying, if we extend the hours, approximately 2 months or so is taken off of the project timeline. They may go for that. They may accept that. And we just work towards that and, work with them. We just can't, just do it you know, and explain to them that it's going to be less. I think we should, you know, partner with the, you know, with the public on this.
Rico, anything?
I'm sorry. I didn't add this. So currently, we're saying we're going to go ahead and shut down the road, and then you're going to go ahead and dig in the trench, and then the amount of time that it's going to take to just to reopen the road, and then moving all the plates, and you know, whereas it's going to be amazingly difficult in that small area, and trying to get all that work to come in and out in 8 hours, your efficiency there is just going to get shot. And so you're going to want to be able to get your sand and are we using slurry here?
No.
Sand and base rock, and have it stockpiled in that area. So like the first thing in the morning, you just go ahead and start doing your work. And so opening that road back up is really going to kill the efficiency. And it's going to be really terrible. It really is. All that big equipment, trying to get into that one area, and then opening things up in 8 hours, and then not working Saturdays. And I like to pull the Band-Aid, you know, really quick, and instead of like pulling it really slowly. And if we have to let our businesses know, let's get it done, Mayor. Get it done.
Rico?
I won't repeat what everyone has said. I think a lot of great ideas. Has staff considered extending the hours, as has been suggested, or are we going to be on the normal timeline? Or has that even come as a possible option or solution?
No, we haven't thought about that, no.
Okay, so also with the Vice Mayor's comment, I think it has been known that really the businesses open up 9, 10, depending on what they are, and I think you do need to do the early mornings. I do think, yes, the subcommittee for the Continental Breakfast, that's good, Ken, you could do that. But I think also we really need to find a way, if there is, maybe asking the chamber or whatever we need to do in order to bring folks forward. Because my biggest concern is that a project that must be done, that will be done, really needs to be communicated. We may get to a point where we really have to put some detailed flyer out that goes out to the to the commercial property, and obviously residents too, because they'll be affected in the various languages. I think what's going to happen is everybody's busy today, but when construction starts tomorrow, a lot of questions will be raised. So a contact number and that person that's on site, and where are they located, how do they get in touch with them? I think that instant communication is going to be critical. So any suggestions that you've heard here would be, I think, great if we could take that as an option and opportunity.
Okay.
Is there any way to break it into 3 pieces? I mean, I realize that you're going from El Camino to the next major street, but you have that thoroughfare right next to the San Bruno Entrepreneurial Center. That's a thoroughfare onto San Mateo Avenue. I mean, that would be a good place to break it into 2, but you also might be able to break it into 3, because there's an alleyway right next to the confection store that's by the sandwich shop. I mean, then maybe you could shorten the span in which the businesses were impacted by a considerable amount and still allow people to move in and around that street somewhat. I don't know if that adds additional cost, but it might be less of a problem for the businesses.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, currently, these traffic rerouting plans are very generic because we haven't had a chance to sit down with the contractor to review the actual, work, proposal. So we'll have a better understanding of what the actual traffic, rerouting plans are once we have a kickoff with pre-construction meeting with the contractor.
Good. I think a lot of good points were brought up here this evening. You know, if you start to phase this thing, it's going to be 3 phases of grief instead of one big phase of grief. You don't want to get into that. And working, Saturdays, Sundays, I think they may need a break down there. It's fine, but then you're into overtime and then you're into change order and then you're into all different kinds of things. So I think you got to fine tune your whole program, as you said. All of the things aren't dotted and crossed yet, but it's got to be done. We got to get it done. We have to bite the bullet. We did the same thing with the BART, unfortunately, and it was a lot of grief for a while. Now it's fine. You don't even know it's there. And we did the same thing with the grade separation. There was a lot of grief down there too, but they got it done. So would anyone like to introduce the resolution for adoption?
Through the chair.
Irene?
Before I do that, I just want to clarify something. In the staff report, it says closure to segments of San Mateo Avenue roadway would likely be from Angus Avenue to Sylvan, Sylvan to Genevin, and Genevin to El Camino. So it's already part of how they're looking at closing it. They're not intending to close the whole thing all at one time. So it is already intended to phase in, and I know Jimmy will take all our comments and incorporate them into the working plan. So with that, I will introduce the resolution.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Marty Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Rico Medina.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ibarra.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye. Item 10C is receive oral report and review the status of local emergency related to the truck collision at the San Bruno Senior Center and the continuing declaration of local emergency. There is no resolution. This is just an update. Connie?
Yes, according to the state law, we are required to give you an update every 30 days in order to continue the existence of the emergency condition, but you are not required, as the agenda erroneously suggested, you are not required to adopt subsequent resolutions. So the report for tonight is an update on the status of the demolition and repair of the senior center, which is a very high priority, and we are all anxious to make sure that we can get our senior population back into their facility so that the programs can continue as usual. That said, we have been very grateful to have the cooperation of St. Robert's Church and the school at St. Robert's Church, and those programs are successfully, the lunch program is successfully operating in that location, and we have other programs operating in other remote locations as well as in unaffected areas of this building. So all of that is going well. I want to correct, before I continue with my comments about the status, I want to correct some information that I provided to the City Council at the last meeting in response to a question from a council member. And that was the name of the company that did the initial securing of the building the night of and in the days immediately following the accident that resulted in the truck running into the west side of the building. The name of the company is not the one I told you. It's very similar, but the name of the company is Belfor Restoration Specialists, BELFOR. That company, as I said, is a specialty property restoration company, and that is their business. They have an international presence, and as I told you before, staff is highly pleased, and we have seen the results. We saw the results immediately and continuing of their very capable, good work. At the current time, staff is working with Belfor to complete a contract for Belfor to continue work, which would include the demolition of the damaged portion of the building, which essentially consists of that area around and including the stage at the westernmost portion of the building behind the wall here. Those contracting, it sounds like it should be pretty quick. Hand them the paper, tell them to sign it and return it. Unfortunately, it's not that quick and easy, and Belfor is actively working with us to get all of the required attachment documents, insurance and performance bonds and the like. We expect the completion of that contract to occur within the next couple of weeks, and for us to be able to subsequently begin the demolition work. Demolition work will be followed immediately by environmental remediation of the site. As I reported to you at the last meeting, there is some identified contamination of the site resulting from the accident itself, with some petroleum products having spilled from the truck that ran into the senior center. All in all, we expect within approximately 4 weeks for that work to be completed. The demolition and environmental cleanup will take approximately 2 weeks, and we look forward to having that work done within the next 4 to 5 weeks. And following that work, we will begin, we will complete the design plans. Our structural engineer is currently working with the original building design plans and with our building department to prepare updated plans that are consistent with current building codes. This building is more than 30 years old, built to a standard that no longer exists, and so there is some amount of additional work that we can't just pick up the plans and then go build it again. We need to be cognizant of new building code requirements. So that work is in process right now, and our hope and plan is to follow the demolition and environmental remediation work as quickly as possible. Again, using Belfour as a direct contractor to complete the work associated with rebuilding the senior center. I do not have, at this point, a precise timeline for that subsequent phase of work, but look forward to being able to provide that to you with a subsequent update. The next update, of course, will occur at your August 22nd regularly scheduled City Council meeting. Again, we're running the preparation for the design, the preparation which is the design development. We're running that work concurrently with our contracting and with the planned demo and environmental remediation work in order to expedite, and we look forward to getting our seniors and our programs back into this building as quickly as possible. That said, as we reported to you previously, the relocated facilities, the temporary facilities at St. Robert's Church and at the Pertola Performing Arts Center are unfortunately only available until school starts, which is approximately another month from now. And at that point, we expect to have a short relocation to another site. At this point, we're planning to relocate programs into our recreation center, which will not be ideal, but we're working to make that as short as possible in order to facilitate and to try and find the best possible mix of using this room and other locations in order to, again, get our programs back here as quickly as possible. So we'll report to you again on August 22nd and look forward to having some more progress to report at that time.
Okay.
Questions?
Yes. Marty?
Just a couple questions. So, we don't have a contract now, but they were probably running on like a time and material basis, kind of like a handshake like they did back in the day. Just curious about that, and that hoping that by the 22nd, that when you return, that you can kind of identify the tasks completed and the cost for those tasks, and then that's pretty much it. Just to kind of so we're aware of the cost as we go through this emergency. That would be appreciated.
Yeah, just to restate, I forgot to mention, of course, we're continuing to work with our insurance carrier through ABAG and their excess insurance provider. All costs for the immediate response, the demolition, the environmental remediation, and the restoration of the senior center to its previous condition are being borne by our insurance carrier, and to the extent that they can recover any insurance funds paid from the company whose truck ran into our building, they will do that as well. But there is no out-of-pocket costs by the city for this work.
Rico?
Correct me, and yes, thank you. I think there's a $5,000 deductible, I believe.
So, yes, I'm
But-
sorry. So no was the wrong answer,
No,
$5,000
but it should,
deductible.
everybody has a
That's correct.
deductible and everything we do, but the 5,000 and then a bag kicks in and then they try to recoup
That's correct.
the monies from the truck. The other thing is, St. Robert's, if I'm not mistaken, I think August 23rd may be the last day. I think school starts on the 24th. And so the program would have to be moved, and I know you were suggesting that, an alternative is the rec center, which there used to be a Thursday club there that met every Thursday and did lunches and meals. I remember that. The kitchen obviously is much smaller. It's like a kitchen in a home. And so the food program, I'm just concerned on how we're going to maintain it at the adequate fashion with the attendance. You have the seating capacity, but as far as the preparation and other stuff, so that's given some real consideration, because one of the things that they enjoy, and we are pleased when we go, is just everybody's involved. They're all helping, they're assisting, and it's an important part of their day. So I'm just hoping that we can somehow, even if we've got to order out, or however it's going to be done. And if on the August 22nd meeting, we can maybe find out a timeline of a goal of when they might be back in full capacity at the center. Please.
Certainly, we will give you that information as soon as we have it. At this point, I am not confident that I can provide it on August 22nd, but we will provide that information about the expected full completion of the repairs as soon as we have it. Regarding the lunch program, currently we are utilizing a contract provider to provide pre-prepared lunches, even though there is a kitchen facility at St. Robert's, and I'm anticipating that would, of necessity, continue. Now, engagement and involvement of our dedicated volunteers remains an absolutely critical part of our ability to deliver the program, and I believe and have understood that they are still being fully utilized, although in a different capacity, not preparing the food per se, but making sure it is received and distributed, and all of the other ancillary tasks, which still are very time-consuming, and their work is very much appreciated.
Okay.
Through the chair, okay.
Okay.
Are you at liberty to say what is the extent of the damage? I mean, it looks like a hole in the wall. And, I mean, is there some extenuating structural damage to other parts of the building?
Let me
Okay.
chime in there. Just,
Okay.
you missed the last meeting, and we
Okay.
did take a small tour inside and showed there's
Okay, well,
extensive structural
wasn't in
damage.
the minutes or anything, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask the City Engineer, Public Works Director, if he has any more detailed comments. The damage is limited to the immediate area of the stage and adjacent to the stage. We're in this building tonight because our building official and other experts immediately inspected the building and were able to certify the structural integrity of this portion of the room, and the vast majority of the room behind the wall here remains actually intact. So in that respect, we were very fortunate. But it will be necessary to tear off the complete back wall of the building and to replace the entire stage area and at least a few feet into the room in front of the stage in order to completely repair.
I think the city manager described it really well,
Okay.
so I don't have anything to add.
Can you give an update on the revenue generating Thursday night bingo? What's going on with the bingo players? Where are they? I mean, is it just canceled until further notice, or is there any possibility that can be, picked up somewhere else? And part of that is that possibly part of the damages that insurance might be able to cover, roughly $1,500 per week.
Yeah,
To
so
the nutrition program.
I can answer a couple of those questions, maybe not all of them. The Thursday night bingo is a fundraising activity that is conducted by an independent not-for-profit organization, the Nutrition Site Council. The city has no direct involvement with the operation of that program. And again, it's that not-for-profit organization is fully independent of the city. It's my understanding that there is a strong interest to get back in here as quickly as possible, and we are working with the not-for-profit to see whether literally this space would be sufficient and would adequately accommodate the crowd that they might expect. It would be a substantially smaller space than they have been able to utilize here in the past with their use pretty much of the entire room here. As to whether they are able to locate somewhere else, I do not have that information, and don't know whether they either have looked at other possible locations or whether they might have any positive prospects for that. With regard to recovery of lost fundraising revenue, the answer is no, our insurance does not cover that. Whether they have their own insurance that would cover such a loss, I don't know, but if they did, it's at least possible that they could receive some recovery from their own insurance provider.
Anyone else? We're asking for nothing on this. Thanks for the oral report. We better make this quick before,
We lose the vice
yeah.
mayor.
I think we approved new chairs, I think, at the, during the budget, I believe.
We did.
All right, okay. Okay, everybody sit still, we're almost done. 10D, appoint Councilmember O'Connell as the voting delegate for the annual League of California Cities Conference being held September 13th to 15th, 2017 in Sacramento, and appoint an alternate delegate.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. In many of the recent previous years, Councilwoman O'Connell has represented the City Council and the city in voting at the annual League of California Cities Conference, which is typically held in September, and this year is being held in Sacramento. Councilwoman O'Connell has identified her interest to do that again this year, but she has also identified that she may possibly have a conflict on those dates, and as such, we are asking for the City Council to consider appointing an alternate, which the League of California Cities rules allow, in the event that she is unable to attend. We would have somebody already designated and on file with the League so that that process could be completed smoothly. So we're asking your consideration to identify Councilwoman O'Connell as the voting delegate and for your action to appoint an alternate delegate.
Okay. Someone interested in being the alternate?
Mr. Vice Mayor?
I looked at my calendar, and unfortunately, I have a conflict. My daughter's getting married, so.
That's a good reason.
I didn't make that up.
Okay. Rico?
Irene, I believe you'll be there, so yes, I will step up and be the alternate and represent the city if necessary.
Okay. Need a motion? Okay.
So moved.
Motion second to appoint Councilmember O'Connell as the voting delegate and Councilmember Rico Medina as the alternate. All in favor?
Aye.
Reporting commissions, boards, and committees. There aren't any this evening. Comments from council members? Anything? Okay.
San Bruno's known for baseball, and we had a team that went to the Little League World Series, and they represented us very well. And I just found out that the San Bruno Joe DiMaggio team are the 2017 California State champions. The manager
Tom Lara is very proud.
Lee Graff and his staff, maybe we will get a chance to invite him in here soon. The other announcement is it's the end of the month and it's Saturday, So for those of you that have that hunger for pancakes, all you can eat at the American Legion, Saturday, 8:30 to 11. And they have a cool raffle there. So if you don't get your bingo going on, you can go to the raffle and kind of get your fix there. On a more serious note, at the last council meeting, I attempted to introduce I believe, an action to call the vote on the fee increases that were recently approved. And I would like to try that again, since we do have one other council member that voted originally no on it. So I don't know, we can wait for after the comments, or do I do it now to introduce?
Anyone else have comments? No?
Okay, so I'd like to agendize the rate fees increases that were approved a couple meetings ago.
To
And
revisit those.
agendize that to take some action. The building fees, I'm sorry, correct.
Okay. That's a motion. Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
Second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3. Opposed?
No.
No. So it carries, so we'll revisit. Okay.
Through the
Anything
chair?
else, Irene?
Yes, I'm sorry. I just want to remind people about the beautification awards. So the application or nomination papers is on the city website, or it is at the city clerk's office. So we hope you look around your neighborhood and find a property that can be nominated, or your own property that you've worked on it. Thank you.
Great. Last item is 13, a closed session, and we were able to complete all of our closed session business in the first closed session. So there won't be anything
Right, and
after.
there's no reportable action.
No, and there's no reportable action. If there's nothing else, meeting adjourned until August 22nd right here.